Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Ian Charkos, the Executive Chairman at ADX Energy. Ian, thank you so much for joining me today.
Pleasure to join you.
So, Ian, for those who are new to the ADX story, can you give me a little bit of a brief in regards to what ADX does and some assets that you currently have?
ADX is a junior oil and gas company. We're ASX listed, but all our assets are in Europe. So historically, our focus has been offshore, mostly in the Mediterranean, but more recently we've been developing quite a portfolio onshore in Europe. Most recently, we made an acquisition in Austria, a production acquisition. And late last year, we also drilled a successful well in Romania, where we've got what we think is going to be an important gas discovery.
Fantastic. It does sound like an exciting time, Ian. So, can you tell me a little bit about your strategy and the plan you have for the business moving forward?
Well, our goal in the longer term is to build a significant production base onshore Europe. We particularly like onshore Europe in the countries we're at because we're very close to infrastructure. The value of the hydrocarbons that we produce is very high. And also, it's very well developed and highly prospective. So we'd like to see ourselves progress from where we are today with around 300 barrels a day of production to a level of around 2,000 barrels a day within 3 years. So that'll make us a significant player onshore. Importantly, we've also built a team because with the recent acquisition we made in Austria, we've also now got production personnel, geoscientists and operational personnel, and they're located in Austria. But then Romania is just next door. So it's a 2-hour drive from Vienna to Romania, where we have our appraisal operations.
Thanks so much, Ian. So, tell me a little bit about the assets that you currently have in Romania.
Well, Romania is basically both an exploration and an appraisal opportunity. We've been in Romania for about 5 years. So we've been pretty fortunate that we've managed to get funding from other parties to drill 2 wells. So we've drilled our first well. We intersected some nice gas zones. And we were preparing to test that well, but actually test it as a future producer. Unfortunately, COVID has slowed us down. We were hoping to test that well in April, but now we're gearing up because the borders have opened in Romania and we're able to bring in services that we require to test the well. So we should get results from our first successful well in Romania probably early next week. So that's a big plus for us. We're also shooting seismic around that discovery so we can better establish how big it is. And then we're drilling a second well probably around the 4th quarter of this year. But what's nice about Romania is a very good gas price with lots of infrastructure which we can access easily. And also the fiscal terms are very, very good. So yeah, we're quite excited about that discovery in Romania.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ian. And tell me a little bit about these projects that you have in Austria and how they're currently going.
Certainly. Well, we bought an oil field in the Vienna Basin, which is an area very close to Vienna. It's only 20 kilometres from Vienna. And basically, we've bought an oil field that's been producing since the 40s. We're very fortunate that it's on a very flat decline. It's produced at very high environmental standards, and also it's produced very, very efficiently with relatively low cost. So what we've gone in there, we've bought it at around 1 year of cash flow, which is really cheap. So compared to acquisitions in Australia or the US, the field's currently producing around 320 barrels a day. But we see lots of opportunity to increase that production rate from infill drilling, from behind pipe potential. Plus, we've identified there's actually significant deeper potential below the field, which we can access and then bring into the current infrastructure. So, look, the best place to find oil and gas is where you've already found it. All the infrastructure's there. We're plumbed into an existing refinery. So we're very excited about this field. For a lot of oil and gas fields, it's been a difficult time. But we've been able to hedge our production, so we've been able to remain profitable and keep doing work on the field despite relatively low oil price. So we have been doing things like facilities upgrades. workovers on wells, and some remedial work to keep this asset going.
So, Ian, it sounds like an exciting time for ADX Energy. Are there any other opportunities for you in Austria currently?
Yeah, look, I think Austria provides a huge opportunity for us. Historically, there's only ever been two producing companies in Austria. So the country produces around 25,000 barrels a day, but it's got a 220,000 barrel a day refinery to feed. So these are much larger companies who have grown sort of out of Austria, and we see good opportunities to pick up, remaining oil fields, but also we see a lot of exploration potential that they really haven't got after in the last few years. So we've been fortunate to be able to acquire significant seismic. We managed to get about $100 million worth of recent seismic, and we're basically utilising that seismic to go in and make applications for new exploration areas. But what's exciting about this is any discoveries that we make, we're very proximal to existing infrastructure, and we've already got arrangements with one of the existing producers to be able to access that infrastructure. So the big difference there is you make a discovery and you're not waiting years for cash flow. The pathway from discovery to cash flow is very, very short.
Thank you, Ian. It does sound like there is lots of opportunity for you where you currently are. Tell me, how have things been progressing with your current projects? I'm aware that they are both in Europe, and with the coronavirus, Europe has been hard hit. How's everything been tracking there so far?
Yeah, it's really been two different stories. Austria is a very advanced economy. They've got very high level of healthcare, and like Australia, they were able to lock down quickly and get control of the virus very, very quickly. So even though we've been producing and actually doing work on our field, we haven't had any effects from the coronavirus. I mean, we've instituted certain precautions in the way we've worked, but there's been no real impact on our operations in Austria. Romania has been quite a different story. We've been wanting to test a well there and undertake 3D seismic, but the Romanians had to shut their borders. Romania's got a very large transient worker population, so there were a lot of people coming back from different places, especially Italy. So what they did, they basically locked down their whole population for approximately 2 months. Now those borders are just opening up now. So in fact, we're now able to get on with the operations that we thought we'd have in April, and everything getting slowly back to normal in Romania.
So, Ian, you've briefly touched upon acquisitions and the opportunity for them. Where might these come from?
Yeah, we see really good opportunities to expand our production base, both in Austria and Romania. So we have been working with the previous seller of the first field we bought, and we think there's a good opportunity for us there to potentially increase our production base with other assets that they have in Austria. But we also see good opportunities coming up in Romania. So we're targeting the next 6 months to be able to add to our asset base, and we're hoping to fund those acquisitions probably with a combination of both equity and debt. So we're really looking forward, if you like, to be able to get back into Europe and hopefully expand our investor base, not just in Australia, but also in Europe.
Ian, for those who are coming on board or wanting to look at ADX as an investment opportunity, what are some things investors can really look forward to in the next few months from ADX?
Well, hopefully next week we'll be able to report the results of the successful well we drilled in Romania. So we're quite excited about testing that well. In fact, the workover rig came on location earlier this week, and it should be set up to test that well. Back in Austria, we've been doing a lot of work on these existing fields, and we've actually got an independent expert coming in to assess our reserves, and we should be able to come out with some exciting initiatives in terms of where we see reserves and production going in Austria. We've also made applications for additional exploration acreage in Austria, and we're pretty well advanced with exclusive data. So we think probably around the third quarter of this year, we'll be able to announce where we're at with further exploration opportunities in Austria. And then back in Romania, beginning of the fourth quarter, we'll be drilling a follow-up well to our successful well late last year, and we hope between those two wells we'll come up with a substantial reserve base that we can then add, if you like, a new production opportunity to our portfolio.
Fantastic. Ian, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you so much for joining me. Lots of activity, lots of news for ADX Energy. Thank you, and we look forward to having you back soon.
As always, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.